I can see what this league is trying to do currently, and I just feel like it's not quite getting there. I'm sure there are plenty of people who have made some insane crafts who've cracked the code. I know what I'm supposed to do, but getting the corpses and everything, it's a struggle. And currently, it's sort of feeling like fossils, just worse fossils and more farming to get the fossils and a bit more clunky. I have some ideas I could make this better. Also, I've been on a full Reddit and Twitter detox after last week where I used it way too much. So I'm out of the loop of what the community has been saying about the league and their thoughts and theories about how it's been working. So this is my take. So currently, I want to like it. Like I said, I can see what it's trying to do. And if it can get there, it'll be amazing. Currently, this UI is really bad. It's confusingly bad that this was put in the game. No offense to the UI folks, but I mean, firstly, I can't control F to filter corpses and immediately stick to this. Also, every time I want to plant a corpse, I have to click it and then search for the mod in this like super long list and put it in. If I say I'm doing like a fire thing, I have to type fire there every single time, then click the thing, click the thing, click the thing. It would be very nice if there was a way to just click it and then say, click this mod and then like click it there. And this UI doesn't close every single time. I know that there's some things that modify lines and rows and things like that. So you do want to be able to specify in which grave plot you're putting the thing, but it'd be nice if I could like click and drag it, like click, drag, and then once it's in the hole, maybe click and drag it to this one. It's like, oops, I missed, just click and drag and move it over. Also, how these modifiers work exactly, I'm not 100% sure. Take this with a grain of salt. I don't know if anyone has completely cracked it, but I assume that when we see something like critical modifiers of 300% scarce, so I assume, and let me know what you think about this, but let's just have a look at Path of Exile. So let's say we're making a two-handed weapon, an axe, and we have these critical modifiers. So these critical modifiers, their weight is 6,000, 6,000, total of 12,000. I assume that when it says that critical modifiers are 300% scarcer, that weighting is being divided by 300, well, not 300, but divided by 3. So instead of 12,000, the weight would be 4,000, meaning it would be 3 times less common. And then you can stack them. I don't know exactly how they multiply together. Would it go from, if I did another 300%, would it go from like 4,000 down to whatever, 1,333? It's just a bit confusing. Also, these modifier tier things, someone did show me a post from Local Identity which did seem to make sense about these defense modifier tier ratings, where the more modifiers that exist within a mod pool, so let's say life let's say has 13 tiers on body armor, 100 of the life modifier tier rating would increase it by 1 tier. But if there are modifiers with fewer than 13, then this would increase the tier that it goes up to. It's confusing. And again, I say I understand what they're trying to do, and it does feel sort of like fossil crafting right now. For example, frenzy gloves, right? So my thinking was, how do I make frenzy gloves, right? This is a haunted modifier. It's a prefix. So I assume the way I get this, or have a very high chance to get it, is to get the chance to get a haunted modifier and then try and block out a whole lot of other modifiers. So physical mods are less common, such as leech, and then also attack mods are less common, such as, all the elemental damage to attacks. And you could even do life mods are less common if you really want to cut it down. I did that. I spent a long time farming up all the thingies and tested it, and I got a rubbish pair of gloves. I ended up buying these. So I assume that that's kind of how it's supposed to work. How I think it could work, which would be a lot more fun and a lot more intuitive, especially to people who don't craft, but also very powerful for people who do craft, is instead of having less common or scarcer, which is a new word, rather have a corpse drop that says item cannot have a fire modifier. I know that sounds really strong for people who craft. You're probably like, that's way too strong. That's way too good. But Wouldn't that be much more easy to understand for people? Or you could have like cannot have an attack modifier and just have that a very rare one. Or even some of the things, instead of 200% increased chance of lightning modifiers, how about has a lightning modifier? And then your average Joe will be like, hey, I'm playing this lightning strike build. I want a claw and I want it to have lightning damage and I want it to have attack speed. So why don't I go, has a lightning modifier. All right, cool. But now it can roll lightning res as well. It can roll another thing, it can roll lightning damage. So maybe I should first go farm a cannot have resistance modifiers. So you go, all right, well, now I got a lightning modifier. It will have that, and then it won't have a lightning mod. I know that my little claw is going to get lightning damage on it. The tier then, you could say, this is the tricky part, because you have like +1 tier to lightning modifiers, then yeah, you're going to be printing perfect tier 1 items very easily. But currently the way this works is, people who don't craft are probably mega confused. Please do let me know your opinion in the comments. Like I said, I haven't been on Reddit. I haven't seen anything that anyone is saying other than on stream, but I feel that would make a lot more sense. It might be really strong, but I mean, it's a league mechanic. Let it be strong. Let it be cool. It'd be really nice if you were farming out and you find like has an influence modifier and you're like, oh, sweet. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to say cannot have a lightning modifier, and now I know I can like force a power charge or something like that. Also, this, like I said, the UI, man, please. Like a beast UI would be a hell of a lot better. Similar to Bestiary. I mean, Bestiary is not amazing, but maybe you have cold modifiers, fire modifiers, lightning modifiers, fizz modifiers, and you can have your like little recipe book. All of that would make this feel really cool, and I hope that those kinds of changes are made. I do know that I haven't seen everything, of course. I'm just entering red maps now. I keep stumbling across new modifiers that are new corpses that have interesting modifiers that I'm like, oh wow, that's actually really interesting. But when it's not exactly 100% clear what it's going to do or how it's going to affect it, it's a bit less exciting. For example, again, when I try to make these frenzy gloves, well, not these ones, but I try to make a pair of frenzy gloves, I use, I think, 6 of the 50% increased chance to get a haunted modifier. Pair of gloves did not have haunted modifiers. All the modifiers were bad on it. So, I mean, imagine you just find has a haunted modifier. That'd be pretty crazy. Or maybe like a 1 in 4 chance to have a haunted modifier instead of this 50% increased chance. That doesn't make sense because I don't know what the base chance is. Is it like a 1 in 100 to get a specific mod? Is it a 1 in 1,000, 1 in 10, and then 50% increase of that is, I don't know. So it's not that exciting when I find that. And it's not exciting knowing that after I've used it and used like 6 in one craft that I've saved up and I bought some, that it resulted in nothing really. So yeah, let me know what you think. I think the mechanic has a ton of potential. I just feel like it has been unnecessarily overly complicated and could maybe be simplified in a way that makes it much more accessible to more people. Even if it makes it stronger, you can make these things maybe a bit more rare, but even to someone who doesn't craft, they still wouldn't have the full understanding of the power, but at least they would have that accessibility where they could say, oh, has a lightning modifier. I want to put that on my claw and then block a resistance. And now I have a claw with lightning damage and attack speed. So yeah, that's my 2 cents. Currently, it feels like this is just fossils, but worse and more clunky with the UI that I don't really like with the 70 resonator slot. I'm sure there are tons of people making crazy stuff, but I would really like it if it was a bit more accessible and less hyper-reliant on RNG, not only on getting the thing you want, firstly, finding the corpse you need without having to go to the trade site, but also trying to actually craft, because currently it feels like I'm hitting something with a Chaos Orb with like slightly better odds after farming 50 maps. Also, last thing, this corpse morgue, way too small, but at the same time way too big. We need this to be bigger. It keeps filling up, and The annoying thing is that I feel like I need 64 things to have a chance to maybe get something that's not bad, and it still keeps filling up. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. If you like it, if you hate it, have you made some insane items? Do you agree with some of the things I've said in the video or completely disagree? Let me know what's happening in the community. Is it on fire? Have a wonderful day, everyone. Catch me live. I've been streaming a bunch. Lightning Strike going super well. If you're playing the build, join the Discord. There is a server where we can talk about the build if you're struggling. But for me, it's been super smooth. Just in the process of transitioning to crit now and absolutely loving the build still. So have a wonderful day. Catch you later. Bye-bye.
It's ranching exile. You're making me nervous.